Hi and welcome to another installment of Shooting Star. Since it's spring and spring has sprung, I thought I'd dive right into a few questions that have been kind of lingering on the Facebook discussion page. I went back through a couple days ago when I started taking notes about some of the reoccurring questions that people had, so I thought I'd dive right into them. Eleanor Gannon asks, have you ever had clients who tell you how to do your job? Well, I'm very fortunate and lucky that I haven't had clients try to tell me how to do what I do. And I would venture to say if clients are hiring you, I do believe that they think that you know how you can do what you do. They hired you. However, what I do think is maybe they doubt or kind of confused whether or not you can have control over the day. Usually this happens with posing or family formals. Those are two of the questions that I'm kind of getting a lot from photographers. How can you stay in control? Basically, staying in control is just that. It usually comes with body formation, it comes with your voice, and it comes with experience. Knowing what to do and how to do it. Make sure that when you go onto an engagement session or during the bride and groom pictures on a wedding day or even during the family formals, you have a game plan. You've already scoped out the location, you know exactly where you want to take the clients. You could talk to them confident and say, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, are you okay with it, this is great. Then you talk with them, and when you go in with a level of confidence, then they can then trust you. So no, I haven't had clients tell me how to do my job, and it's a conversation I hope never to have. Naomi Jose Choker asks, do you give your clients images first and then blog about it, or do you blog about it with the engagement session and then give your clients a disc? Well, if the client orders the disc of digital negatives, which most all my clients do, I will first blog and do a slideshow and do the plus sides for those clients, because I want to make sure that the first thing those clients see are my favorite images, and I can then create an experience around how they're engaging with my work first. If I say send them the disc, they can get the disc and then they put it on their computer and they can look through a myriad of pictures, however, whatever photo mechanism they have to view the pictures. Versus if I was in control of how the experience parlayed or went out, I would prefer for them to either on Facebook look at a plus site or go to the blog and see their slideshow, read the story about them from my perspective about how they met, that third person narrative. Anything that I can do to create that experience and let them know that I think they're amazing and I think they're special. Anything that you could do for your clients to do the same thing, I think will be definitely beneficial. Emily Dobson said, how do you set up styled shoots? Do you contact vendors and set up details, or are they contacting you to photograph the events? Well, I will say that now it was a little bit different than when I first started out. So I'm going to answer it in both ways. When I first started out, I wanted to start shooting these styled events or shoots. They weren't as prevalent or popular as they are now, and that makes me sound really old. Back in my day, when I was shooting, around 5 years ago, styled shoots were very, very, very uncommon and done specifically for magazine or print. Now, probably around 2.5, 3 years ago, people started doing them on their own as a way to start marketing themselves and offer unique portfolio pieces for online blogs and yes, even for magazines. So I'm a huge proponent. I love them. I would shoot them every day and twice on Sunday if I could. I absolutely love shooting the styled shoots. When I was first given those opportunities, I started looking around for people who were kind of in the same price range. So for instance, if I was a mid-range wedding photographer, I was priced mid-range. Well, I wouldn't want to say work with the top tier, most exclusive cake baker on a styled shoot, because I don't know if it would be as advantageous for her or him, because we want to make sure that the clients that we're trying to reach are all within proximity. Ideally, the best way that I could look at a styled shoot would that it would be a marketing mechanism for everybody involved. So in a perfect case scenario, if I did a styled shoot with a team, I would love if a bride saw that shoot and she loved everything about it. It would be perfect, an ideal situation if she hired the cake baker, if she hired the stylist, if she hired the coordinator, if she hired the paper maker, if she hired the designer, the florist, and the photographer to all replicate or redo a similar sentiment for her wedding. So every time I get engaged with a styled shoot, those are the types of things that I'm looking for. In the beginning, I started working with an amazing crew of people who just wanted to get together and build portfolio pieces because we couldn't showcase. What we wanted to do was showcase our clients everything they didn't know they wanted. And that's how these styled shoots really started gaining motion for our businesses. Now, it's more often that people will approach me to do the styled shoot once they already have the team assembled. However, I will say that every so often I will kind of come up with an idea and throw it out to a few vendors and see if they want to jump on board, and usually it's very nice that I have a wonderful group of friends within the industry who can all put our heads together, and I'm really excited. We have one coming up and it should be featured sometime soon on the blog, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I'll probably do something as a retrospective about how it all happened and how it went down. So that's the long answer, both when I first started and how it kind of works now. But definitely go out of your way to make those things happen, because it's a wonderful way to have fun, get experience, as well as build your portfolio. Shannon, and I'm gonna kill your last name, Shannon, I'm so sorry. Shannon Karzewski asked, I've been looking at your old blog and reading when you're just starting out and you were afraid to ask your friends to take their pictures. How did you overcome your fear? What are 3 things you did from that point to have a massive impact on you? I think that's a great question and something that I don't ever talk too much about. So 3 things to help me get past that point of fear, just initially asking my friends to get in front of my camera. This is far before I ever had a paying client to come. This was just me getting past that like icky feeling of, oh my gosh, I don't want to be embarrassed in front of my friends, and quite frankly, I don't want them to know how badly I suck. The first tip would be practice. I've said this 1,000 times before, but it bears saying again. You can only ever get as good as how much you practice. The more time you put in, the better you will become. I once heard a statistic, or I read somewhere, that in order to become a professional, one should put 800 hours of practice into doing that one thing. So if you want to become a professional cyclist, well, you need to get on that bike and you need to cycle for at least 800 hours. And if you want to become a professional photographer, you should probably be shooting somewhere in the ballpark of 800 hours. If you're not really all that hungry for it, well then I would probably take a step back and reassess what you want to do. Practice, practice, practice. 2, stop worrying about failure. That was my biggest thing. I was so worried that, again, my friends would really see how much I had to learn and how scared I was, and I didn't really want to expose my weaknesses to the people that I loved, because I was afraid they would look at me and say, oh, Jasmine, you really need to like stop this and give it another go at law school. Finally, I just let it go. Stop worrying about failure. If they're your friends, they're gonna love and appreciate what you can do for them, and they're gonna cheer you along from the sidelines. And lastly, be unafraid to make mistakes. Once you let go of this idea that everything has to be perfect from your very first shoot, it relieves this huge burden for you, and then you could then move forward and say, okay, I'm probably gonna make a lot of mistakes this shoot, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm going to follow my dream, and I'm going to hopefully make it happen. I hope these 3 tips helped a bit, and if they don't, I'm going to try it again next week. Thank you so much, and stay fabulous.